Hey guys, it's Mr. Hale coming at you from the driveway now. I moved out of the mysterious garage of science and now we're in the wild and wonderful backyard of science. I wanted to expand on the first video. This is part two, where the first video we talked a lot about wind. We reviewed the basic things that cause wind, and we talked about how wind is a renewable resource that can be used to generate electricity. Now, what I have here, let me clean my workstation off here a little bit, is a model wind farm. This is something I tossed together the other night just out of some stuff I had laying around. Yeah, I'm kind of nerdy because I have this kind of thing laying around. But what I have here are some electric motors, and I'll bring the computer around to show you in a second. They're just simple 1.5 volt electric motors and propellers. As all of my students know, I love airplanes and love building and flying model airplanes. So I had some propellers and fans sitting around to play with. What we've done here is I've created this model wind farm. This thing right here, this is what's called a digital multimeter. Now, you may not be able to see very well in the video just because of, well, the nature of the video and the distance the camera is away. But what we're going to do is we're going to test three different propellers here, and we're going to see how much electricity gets generated from each one. And I have another electric motor that we are going to try to run simply by running these electric motors. Now, before we go any further, I want to ask you to do me a favor. I want you to look at these. You notice this is a long, fatter bladed prop. I have a very small, skinny propeller, and then I have a small but three-bladed propeller. Do you have any predictions as to what you think will create the most electricity? To give you a little background, electricity is created from, something called a generator. And a generator, very simply, is it's a coil of wire spinning around another coil of wire, and that creates a basic DC voltage. Okay, that's direct current voltage. So I have a way to, again, I mentioned that I have a digital multimeter that we can use to measure that. I also have a simple light bulb in series. Then I have a parallel circuit. Now, none of this is stuff you have to know. Actually, none of this is stuff you have to know, but it's kind of fun, and it also shows you how wind is important to us. While it may not seem like that big a deal to some of you, but really it is. And it's a big part of what manages our global temperatures and weather patterns, but also it's a way that we can create energy in a pretty clean and green way. All right, so I'm going to start off by taking the digital multimeter right here. I'm going to take this and I am going to hook it to the large propeller. We've got these little alligator clips here that I'm going to hook it to here. I'm going to hook that to it, and I'm going to hit this with my leaf blower. It's not windy enough out here to really do much to it right now, so I'm going to cheat and use my leaf blower to make this video. So it's going to get a little choppy, and it's going to get a little noisy. So I warn you now, if you don't like loud noises, you might want to cover your ears for a second. As I use the leaf blower of science. I'm just trying to pull that into focus to see if we can see the digital multimeter. It looks like we can. So right now that is reading 0 volts DC. I'm going to go stand behind the camera and I'm going to hit this with the leaf blower and we're going to watch it spin. And we'll see if it creates any kind of electric current. All right, hopefully you could tell by that it got up to about 0.3 volts DC. That's not very much. If you think of a AAA, those tiny little AAA batteries, those make like 1.5 volts. So that didn't really make too much. How many of you thought the bigger propeller was going to make more electricity? Let's skip over here. Now I'm going to jump over to the 3-blade. Did anybody think this guy was going to make more? Let's see. Let's see. Hooking that up to my multimeter with the alligator clips. I don't know if you can see that in the video. There we go. We're hooked up. Nothing's touching and shorting out. Great. Here we go with the 3-blade prop. Keep an eye on the multimeter to see how much voltage is created. Wow, that was pretty cool. That was right around 1.5 to 1.6 volts DC, which this is a 1.5 volt motor. So we would expect that kind of output from it. So already we figured that this bigger propeller versus this 3-blade propeller makes a different amount of voltage. Huh. So now let's go back and revisit our predictions from earlier. Did anybody think that this was going to be the most? Did anybody think this was going to be most? How about this one? Did anybody guess this little orange one? What do you think is going to happen with this? I guess we're going to have to experiment and find out. I'm hooking this one up to the digital voltmeter now, or digital multimeter now. All right, we're hooked up. I'm going to come around the other side. Well, I think that was pretty clear, wasn't it? I didn't have to spin it very long for you to see that that got up to about 2.5 volts, 2.3 or 4, I think it got to 2.36 maybe. That's quite a bit more than this, and definitely way more than this. Almost 2 volts difference between this one and this one. The reason that is because this propeller can spin faster, and it can spin the coils inside this motor faster, which creates more electricity. The faster those coils spin, the more electricity it creates. It's really pretty simple. So now just goofing around, let's have a little fun with it and hook this up to this light bulb here and see if we can get this light bulb to light up. Because numbers on a measuring tool aren't necessarily as exciting as actually being able to see a light bulb light up. Can we get, is the light bulb in the picture? All right, you see this light bulb right here that I'm pointing at? You guys see that? Keep your eye on that. Well, as you can see, that one didn't light up. And let me tell you a little secret. I knew it wasn't going to. You know why? Because this little light bulb takes 3 volts of electricity to make it light up. There was not enough current passing through here to create any light. But what about these guys down here? Yeah, we're going to ignore those for now because I want to keep the video as short as I can. But here's what I'm going to tell you. This motor right here, let me tuck those out of the way. This motor right here, if you can see this in the video, this is exactly the same as all the other motors. It's exactly the same. So I'm going to see if I can make enough energy or electricity by spinning this one to make this one spin. Now I want you to notice when I'm doing this. I don't know if you can see in the camera or not because I'm on the back side of it when I'm going, but I want you to notice that I'm not blowing the fan at this motor right here. Okay, that is not what's going to make it spin. The air is moving only at that middle propeller, that mini turbine, if you will. So hopefully you were able to tell from that the wind was spinning this turbine, this propeller. That coil inside of the engine was spinning. That created a basic DC voltage, which followed these wires all the way down to the propeller down there on that engine and made it turn. So what we can take away from this, guys, is that wind energy is a very powerful and readily available source of electricity. So the other thing we can take away from this is the fact that propeller shape definitely makes a difference. All three of these, I was very careful to set this up so that I could use some basic scientific inquiry and an independent variable here to see which one created more electricity. Let me ask you this. What was my independent variable in this experiment? What was my dependent variable in this experiment? I think it's pretty clear. Independent variable was the propeller size, and the dependent variable was the amount of electricity produced. Well, it's starting to rain, so I'm going to stop. You guys have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please send me some comments or thoughts about future videos or experiments you'd like me to try to set up with my limited resources at home. All right, have a great day, guys. Miss you. Hope to see you soon.